With Ryan Rishaug in Edmonton. Ryan, the contrast is remarkable. Stu Skinner's given up just 1 goal on 50 shots over his last 2 games. The game before that, he gave up 4 on just 8 shots. So quantify it for me. What percentage of this was Skinner standing on his head versus the percentage it was of the better D the team was playing in front of him?
Yeah. I don't know if the two numbers have to be tied directly together, Gino, because I think the team can play better defensively and Stuart Skinner can also play better net minding, and they don't necessarily have to be tied directly to one another. So have the Oilers been playing much better defensively? 1,000% they have. They finally got in some practice time, and it was really interesting to watch those practices. A real focus on getting the forwards to backtrack, fill that area in the middle of the ice between the circles where opponents were scoring so many goals from, where, Skinner was seeing a lot of action from. They have done a better job of that, no question. The high-quality chances have come down. But at the same time, Stu Skinner's had to make some really good saves at key moments in these games. And so the quality of Stu Skinner's play has gone up. I would submit 3 of his last 4 starts have been pretty good. Of course, there was the little Dallas blip there. But again, I don't know how many of those goals you hang on him. So his play has turned, but the team's defensive play has as well. But you want a percentage, I'll give you a percentage. Let's say it's 60% Skinner because he's the one making the saves, but it helps about 40% that the team is defending better. I might not being fair to Skinner there, but you wanted a number. There's your number, Gino.
Fine. I appreciate that because you look like you were taking the political out there. Listen, no one watches McDavid play more than you have. He finished with 26 goals last season. That was a career low for a full year. Now he's on pace for 33. Solid for a normal player, but McDavid's not a normal player. What are you seeing so far from Connor McDavid this year, both offensively and defensively as well?
Well, and I think I'll add to your point on McDavid is on pace for 33, Gino, but in a year where he has a stated goal of wanting to get back to being more of a goal scorer. And I think more than anything, that would be the surprising part, that he's made it clear he really wants to focus on getting that goal total back up, and here he is struggling somewhat to do that. I think his shooting, the amount that he's shooting, I think is similar, even up a little bit. The amount he's hitting the net, I think, is down a little bit. So, I don't know that he's taking the same shooting mentality into the games that he maybe had intended to. Last game he was really frustrated with himself. 2 of his best looks he passed off from the slot, and he pointed that out in his post-game interview. I would say there's definitely some frustration there. The biggest thing that I have noticed, Gino, is in his puck handling. I've never seen Connor McDavid turn the puck over as often as he has this season, and I've never seen him mishandle pucks off the rush as much as he has this season. His turnovers are an indication of that. He had 74 last season. He's already got 41, and they're not even 30 games into the year here. And we saw him change sticks recently as well. So he's still a brilliant puck handler. He still makes great plays. But by his standard, he used to go a month without missing a pass, and now it's happening fairly regularly. So his puck touches just don't quite have that same refinement that they did before, and you can tell it's been frustrating for him as he works his way through it.
And here's a big question. Could he potentially no longer be the best player in the league? The Quizmaster threw out a really interesting question this week. Has Nathan MacKinnon now passed Connor McDavid as the best player in the game? I was looking at the numbers, Shogger. Over the last 2+ seasons, MacKinnon, 105 goals. McDavid, 69. MacKinnon, 305 points. McDavid, 268. McDavid, yes, has been to the last 2 Cup finals, but MacKinnon won it all 4 years ago. Has MacKinnon surpassed McDavid as the best player in the game right now?
Such a good question. I would say it's a fair question. And the Quizmaster and I debated this one for months before it showed up on the quiz itself. But I think it's a fair debate. Here's where I come out on that. Connor McDavid has played 59 playoff games in the last 3 years. Nathan MacKinnon has played 25. Nate MacKinnon was done playing hockey on May 3rd last year. McDavid grinded through his second straight Stanley Cup final to June 17th. My guess is if you were to put this question to players that play in the league, their instinct would be to acknowledge that, MacKinnon by the numbers is probably taken over, but I think there would be a great respect for the amount of high caliber, intense hockey that Connor McDavid has had to play and the toll that would take on a player's production and numbers in the following season. So it's not an excuse for McDavid. It's just the reality. He's dragged his team to 2 Stanley Cup finals in back-to-back years and played an absolute pile of incredibly emotional hockey. Nate MacKinnon has hit a few seasons a lot more fresh. So I think if you want to focus on the production mainly, yeah, he's taken over as the preeminent offensive player. But in terms of giving someone the mantle of best player on the planet, there's a lot more wrapped up in that, and I don't think it's time yet, just given the amount of hockey that Connor McDavid has had to play.
All right, that's fair enough. Look, another difference this year, McKinnon's out of the class of the league.
You, Gino?
No.
How about you?
I will give it to you for now, but we'll revisit this. Don't worry. As McDavid's team is struggling, McKinnon's team is the class of the league. Tired or not, that's just the reality. After rough starts over the last 2 years, it was right around now in the last 2 years that the Oilers began to turn things around. Rishaug, 6 of their next 8 games, including 4 straight at home, are against teams that are not currently in a playoff spot. Are they talking about how critical this next stretch is for their season this year? Not just for the next 2-week window, but for their season?
So it's not the same DEFCON level around here that it was the last couple of years when they got off to slow starts, Gino. If you look at the standings, at no point has it been panic time from the standpoint of the standings. And I think that there's a perspective here that because of the way the standings are, I mean, the Oilers can still win the division. Like, that's not out of the realms of complete possibility if they get back to, playing close to the kind of hockey that they've shown they can play before. So I think because they've been within proximity of the wild card and the playoffs and the division lead, there's less of an existential, oh my goodness, the season's in jeopardy. But in terms of getting to where they want to go, quality of play, finally putting another slow start behind them, it is an important stretch. They know it's an important stretch. It's exercising the demons, Gino, of being one of the worst defensive teams in the league. That is not something you want to carry around with you for half a season and then hope you can snap your fingers and change that. They've really gotten to work on getting rid of that. And I think we all know that they'll most likely find the offense required to turn the corner. Really, it's about defense and goaltending to really get it pointed in the right direction. And yes, this stretch is absolutely critical.
And they got to do something with the offense right now. RNH just got back. He had been playing D in the first couple of games. He came back because he was further down the depth chart. Jack Roslovic, third leading goal scorer on the team, is now out probably until after Christmas. So what are they doing about their lines beginning tonight?
Yeah, they played a great game the other night against the Minnesota Wild, believe it or not. Defensively, they were really good. Minnesota came in points in 11 straight. That goaltender just was not letting anything in and hadn't been for about a week and a half. The Oilers played a really good game, but they didn't score any goals, and that's concerning for this team. That's kind of their bread and butter, right? And so what we saw was Chris Knoblauch go nuclear in the third period and put McDavid and Draisaitl together. He doesn't want to have to do that to find the offense, so he's going to keep them on separate lines, but he's taking Ryan Nugent-Hopkins from the third-line center spot, which when they have McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins down the middle, boy, you put that center trio up against anybody in the league, right? But it thins out the wings a little too much, especially with Jack Roslovic not available. Mangiapane has been a disaster in terms of being an option in the top 6 this year. So they're really thin there. So they're going to move Nugent-Hopkins back into that familiar spot, maybe spark McDavid a little bit, back on that line with Zach Hyman, then Podkolzin and Draisaitl end up in the top 6 as well. So it's a shift. It's using Nugent-Hopkins in a very purposeful way.
All right, you've heard what Rishaug and I think about who the preeminent best player in the entire NHL is right now. I tried to make a case for Nathan MacKinnon. Rishaug said it's still Connor McDavid. McDavid's just tired. What do you guys think? Let's hear your comments.
It's not that simple.
And I. Well, that's what you said, buddy. You said McDavid's tired, and that's why he's maybe not number 1 right now. We'll revisit this conversation. Give us your comments, and we'll discuss further down the road.